This week on a podcast from Beneath, we discuss Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
To get you, Barbara. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. The unburied dead are coming back to life, seeking human victims.
I'm here with Billy.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good. And Eric cannot join us today. He's still dead. We
Still
couldn't bring
dead,
him
yep.
back this time. Couldn't bring him back this time.
We're going to find a voodoo priest that can bring you back.
He just can't. Gotta come back. Bud the Chud.
Yeah, well, first, have you seen anything? Did you see anything new this week besides Chud 2?
I saw Godzilla King of the Monsters.
And how was it without going into spoilers, because I haven't seen it yet?
It was very good. Like all the monster action that we didn't get to see a lot of in the first one, you definitely get it in this one.
Better than expected, or?
Oh yeah, better than expected. It was non-stop monster mayhem. It was awesome. I don't know why people are hating on it. Like I don't know why. Like
Because that's what people do nowadays. They hate on stuff.
it was good. It was very entertaining. It was badass.
I mean, I like the first one, but so is it pretty much battles from beginning to end, or is it like do you have to wait until the midway point?
There's battles throughout, and there's
Okay.
damages in the city and stuff like that.
All right, cool. The only thing I've seen, I watched that Netflix film, The Perfection.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen anything about it?
I've heard about it.
It was pretty good. It was a lot of people are freaking out over it. I guess I've seen a lot of headlines about it's making people, ill and vomit, throw up, and that's because there's some vomit in the movie, but there's nothing. I didn't see anything in it that made me like sick. As far as the movie goes, I kind of enjoyed it. It was a really basic storyline.
Yeah.
But I think the visuals and kind of the way they told the story is what made it stand out. I'm going to have to watch it again, though, because it's one of those, let me watch it again, make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, for a Netflix film, if you have Netflix, go ahead and check it out. It was decent.
I shall give it
So, 1989's Chud 2, Bud the Chud. This obviously takes place after the first one, which was just called Chud. And in this movie, I guess the military are working on turning the Chud into super soldiers. And something goes wrong. So, what did you think of Chud 2, Bud the Chud?
Chud was like just one of those not typical. Well, yeah, typical, but like one of those entertaining. I guess kind of wouldn't say creature, maybe zombie type film. I guess.
Yeah, kind of like I can't believe I'd never seen this one before.
Yeah, I've always
today
seen.
Today was the first time I'd seen it.
Same.
And I rather enjoyed it. And what I kept thinking about as I was watching it was it kind of reminded me of a little bit of like Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Yeah, a little bit. Like kind of comedy a lot.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of comedy. And of course I don't know, would you call them zombies? And I wouldn't really call them zombies in this movie.
Yeah, they're like I don't know what they are, but
I guess we'll just call them zombies.
Deadheads.
Yeah, but kind of just like in Return of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead Part 2, it was almost like they were aware. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they kind of played up oh, my legs aren't working right, so I can't really walk, and of course they talked not intelligently, but they could
Like
one or two words here or
yum
there.
and Katie.
Yeah, stuff like that. But it definitely had, and for some reason when I watched it, I thought this, even though it came out in '89, this movie really felt '80s to me.
Yeah, it really did.
It
Like, it
just
didn't
had
feel like
that.
it
They
was
had
made.
that look. Yeah, they had that look.
Didn't feel like it was made like almost in the 90s.
Yeah, but it definitely had that really good '80s feel to it.
And the special effects weren't that bad. The ones that they did show.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of whenever a lot of the kills were off screen,
Yeah.
which didn't really bother me that much, considering it was again more of a comedy horror than it was a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And I believe it was. I mean, it was rated R. I don't know why it was rated R.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like it did show someone explode and want to get like one of those like lighting things. Was it furnaces for the school like into their head?
Yeah, a Bunsen burner
Yeah.
through the head. That was a really good effect, considering it was lit the entire time that it was, attached to his head.
I think what kind of like the only thing that I really kind of annoyed me was like the friend, the one that was like, fuck, who was it? What's his name? Was it Kevin or Steve?
It was Kevin.
Steve.
Yeah, it was Kevin. Kevin was the. I'm gonna say Steve was the main. I'm gonna say he was the main. I thought of him as the main character. The guy with the black hair, long black hair with wore the denim.
No, 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 not yeah, Steve. Steve is the wise talking. I'm talking about the wise talking friend, the dumb friend, kind of.
Yeah, the one. That's the one that. Yeah, they
Yeah,
take
that's
takes
Steve.
place in
Yeah,
South. Yeah, yeah. I didn't
I
mind. I
didn't
didn't
mind.
mind him.
I don't know. I thought he was like. I thought he was kind of like trying hard. Like, hey, I'm that typical wisecracking dude. I thought like his dialogue was kind of forced in a way. That's the only
Yeah,
complaint I have.
yeah, the actor Brian Robbins. When I was watching, I was like, this guy looks so familiar, and he was in that TV show Head of the Class. If you remember that from the '80s, you probably don't remember it, but
I don't think I do.
yeah, he was in that. There was a lot of people um, in this movie that I recognized from other things. Of course, the our main military guy, Colonel Masters, was played by Robert Vaughn. Who I'm trying to think. The only thing I can think of that I know he was in right now, he was in the movie Basketball.
Yes, yeah, baseball,
Yeah,
yeah. Ray Parker, Matt Stone. He
yeah,
played
he was in that.
I can't remember. Baxter, I think is his name.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so I recognize him, and then of course, the dad in this movie was also in. I think it was the dad in this movie was in Terror Vision.
That's the guy who played Bud the Chud.
Okay, yeah. He was the guy who played Bud the Chud was the dad in Terror Vision. And then there was the guy that goes to the barber shop. That was Rich Hall, who was a big comedian back in
Oh,
the '80s.
who was Rich Hall?
The guy that was the
Oh, the stooge of Robert Vaughn's.
no, he was the guy that went into the barber shop to get his hair cut.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
was like the one scene he had. And then the guy that played the mailman, I can't remember his name. Let me find his name real quick because he was also a comedian from the '80s. And let me find his name. Rich Schneider or Scheidner, something like that. But he was a pretty big comedian back in the day. And then there was remember the old couple whenever the
Yeah.
zombies show up as like trick or treaters.
Right.
So
It was weird. They're like, come on
yeah.
in.
Well, the old man was, I want to say, Mr. Roper from Three's Company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the landlord that was on there after I guess Don Knotts left.
Oh.
And then, of course, during the trick or treat scene, whenever the kids are out trick or treating, Robert Englund makes an appearance
And it looks like he's
as
playing his Freddy
yeah,
character, like the
we
Springwood slasher.
yeah, he's credited as man in trench coat walking with trick or treaters.
Yeah, he was up to something. Definitely.
Yeah, so this, I mean, not a huge cast, not a lot of like A-listers. I guess Robert Englund probably would have been an A-lister at that time,
Yeah.
having done Nightmare on Elm Street.
He had already done, what, 4 or 5 of them already or something like
Yeah,
that?
something like yeah, but yeah, just a lot of people that I recognized. Like I said, from just other movies,
Yeah.
comedians and stuff. There was a lot of like a decent amount of like comedians in it. So, like I said, the military, they're planning on making super soldiers with the out of the chuds, and of course the opening of the movie is a doctor, and it's like one long take as he's walking through the hospital, and we just follow him. It's just going through the hospital. He doesn't say anything. Doesn't stop and talk to anybody. But we just follow him all the way, one
He
long
talks to
shot.
that one dude. He's like, "Man, I'm gonna be in the army or something like that." I wish
Oh
I.
yeah, when he gets to the side, because when he gets downstairs into like I guess the basement where they're keeping the chud,
Yeah.
he has to stop there and do like a sign-in sheet, and he's talking to that MP. And then when he gets in the room, and then there's the Bud the Chud laying there, and
He's like talking to it and shit.
yeah, and that's when it cuts to the military, and they're talking about how I guess they're going to scrap the project because of um, I can't remember why they said they weren't going to do it, but what the doctor was there to do was he was going to inject it with the serum that I guess would kill him.
Yeah, and it didn't pan out well, and that's how it all started. And I did like how they it's weird that they want food, but yet they don't really eat anybody. They take one bite, and then that's it. And
Yeah,
then
it was kind of weird to do it that way.
yeah, it was like one bite, and then like they would turn into a chud. They'd
A
have like
chud.
yeah, they'd get real pale and like black eye, like kind of like dark circles around their eyes, and
And for some reason they get sharp teeth. Like
yeah,
all their teeth turn sharp whenever they turn.
yeah,
Yeah, so the I guess before he gets to injecting, uh, Bud wakes up and kills the doctor, and then that's when the military rush in with, I'm assuming, some kind of uh, chemical that will freeze the body.
yeah, like
It's just
fires.
it just tanks that they shoot out, almost like a cold fire extinguisher is how I describe it, and of course it freezes the body.
Yeah, and then I want to watch this movie again. I really liked it.
Yeah, yeah, I did too.
Um, I didn't think it was. I didn't expect it to be like a comedy, really.
I didn't either going into it because I know it's been a while since I've seen the first one, but I don't think the first one was like a
No, the first
purposely a
one.
comedy.
No, the first one was not a comedy. It was straight up horror. It's cheesy, but it was horror.
Right. Yeah, so after they freeze the body, we cut to the high school, and it's a science class, and this is where we meet our
Main characters.
three main characters, which is Steve, Kevin, and Katie.
And Steve's fucking up some kind of project because he's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy. He's trying to I guess he has a frog that is paralyzed. Its hind legs are paralyzed, and his plan is to fix it with electricity. So he's going to shock it. I don't know how this is supposed to work, but somehow he ends up setting it on fire, and then he tries to put the fire out by dumping some kind of chemical in it, which makes the fire even bigger. and then like comedy ensues.
And then the shenanigans just keep on rolling.
And then I guess as their punishment, they have to go somewhere where I guess where they
It's probably like in the storage.
the storage room where they keep the frogs at.
Storage. And somehow, I can't remember what happened. They end up finding. Oh, yeah, they're trying to find one of the frogs. One of the frogs get out.
Yeah, well, before that, we should say that their teacher had announced that they are going to have an actual cadaver in their class.
Yeah, like, I never got that in
Yeah. And whenever they're in the storage room with the other frogs, that's when they find the cadaver that I guess is going to be used in their class.
Oh yeah, and somehow they like the way this happens, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I still don't know how it happened, and I don't know why. So they're in like a storage unit, right, where these live frogs are at. But then you also have this cadaver. So I'm assuming that
It's like in
I'm
another
assuming
room.
well, yeah, and I'm assuming that the this room is not refrigerated if they have the live frogs in there, but yet they're storing the cadaver there.
I guess they're gonna do it. You know, it'll be fine. We're gonna do it tomorrow. It's not
But
gonna sink that bad.
yeah, but somehow they end up pushing the gurney, which rolls out of the bay doors, which are open, and the cadaver rolls down the street, and of course they have to try to chase it.
Which in real life that would have tipped over.
You think?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's just the whole time I was like, are they really having this? Try to get a cadaver. Bad.
So so now they've lost the cadaver for the class, and now their plan is to get another one, right? And I don't know how they end up going to the military, some military place, that a base that I guess they know has a cadaver there. I don't remember how they end up. I don't remember how they end up there.
No, but there's like, yeah, let's go steal a fucking cadaver here. Like they're not gonna know the difference.
Right.
I mean,
So
we can agree. Like the way they got into this was pretty stupid.
yeah, they just have they just have they have the like the surgery gowns on that a doctor would wear during surgery. You know, the gown and that cap on like they're going to do in surgery, and that's how they. Right? Is that how they do it? Is that how they sneak into the?
To be honest with you, I don't know how they snuck in. I remember they got in and then like they grabbed the cadaver and took him to Steve's house.
Yeah, they end up stealing. Um,
Which that's a pretty shitty military base of those two fucking idiots.
just walk. Yeah, they just basically
Yeah.
walk right in and then walk out with Bud. And then they get it. They get it back to Steve's house, and of course, you know they're trying to sneak it in while his parents are there, and they're watching some kind of nature documentary about the Antarctic.
But things like, yeah, he asks, so not what's the other guy? Not Steve.
Kevin.
Kevin. He asks him to like stall his parents, and his father goes. Father is like, what is that? He's like, it's a seal. So no, it's a penguin.
Yeah. Yeah, the mom looked familiar too, but I don't think I've ever seen her in anything else. But she definitely looked familiar.
She was a pretty woman.
Yeah. But I don't. For some reason, they're just gonna hide him. Like for some reason, they take him into the bathroom, like upstairs into the bathroom, and they just put him in the bathtub.
Actually, at first they tried to take him downstairs, and that dog kept barking. So then they took him upstairs in the bathroom, and apparently the mother, weird, the mother had like her bath ready, but yeah, she was like watching TV.
Yes, yeah,
They
she,
end up, yeah, they end up dropping it in there, and she's like, "Hey, I need to get my bath," and then like they drop the.
yeah, because somewhere I guess he turned the hair dryer on to cover
Yeah.
up the fact that they were talking, and
Yeah, and
then
then
he
like
ends up dropping the hair dryer into the bathtub, and the electricity, I guess, brings Bud back to life.
it's weird. His mother want to take a shower, and then she's like, "Dinner's ready."
Yeah, and again, I couldn't figure out why Bud didn't immediately want to kill both of them.
Maybe he was just like, just stunned because he was eating a doctor, and now he's in his bathroom.
Like he doesn't know. Yeah, like, I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know where I'm at right
confused.
now.
Yeah.
But he does. So yeah, he comes back to life. They decide to walk him down to the basement. That's where they're gonna hide him at.
And yeah, and then yeah, I mean he's a fucking alive. We're like, yeah, we'll keep him in the basement. He'll be quiet. No one's
Yeah,
gonna know.
yeah, he'll be fine. So and then they leave. Well, I can't remember why they leave.
Oh, they left because they were gonna go eat with Katie.
Right, yeah. They're gonna go meet with Katie.
Or eat with Katie, and then they go eat at this burger place, and they tell her, what they did. And then they go back. No,
Well, before
no,
that, he
yeah,
breaks out. He breaks
yeah.
out
He
of the
breaks
basement.
out. He eats the dog. He follows the dog outside.
Well, he doesn't eat the dog. Well, we assume that he eats the
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. It looks like he ate the dog.
Yeah.
Or, like he ate the dog, and then he left, or just go back in the house. No, he left.
No, he leaves.
Yeah,
He just goes.
and then the dog is alive. The dog ends up, hearing growling and stuff.
Yeah, because when he goes, I guess the next scene is we see the woman working out in her living room.
Yeah, and Bud the Chud ends up beating her.
Yeah, she goes outside, I guess, to put some cat food down to get her cat to come home, and she sees him. Like it's just a shot of her, like you know, bent over, putting the food in the bowl, and then we just see his boots step in, and that's when she sees his boots, and is immediately trying to sleep with him all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
What big feet you have, and then she continues to look up, and your big hands, and then she looks up and sees his face. Still doesn't do anything, and she does not freak
So
out
he
until he
smiles.
until he smiles and she sees all the sharp teeth, and then that like immediately she starts freaking out, and then he bites her because you kept saying he eats them, but he's not eating. He's not eating anybody.
He's taking a bite. Yeah.
He just bites her once, and then he leaves, and then now she is a chud,
He's a cannibalistic chud, baby.
which again doesn't make sense that they're not like eating people. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Like they're supposed to be cannibals. Supposed to just. The first movie they ate the whole thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say because in the like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the first one, but if you get it doesn't have that same like you got bit by one, now you turn into one, right?
Yeah, you get bit and you turn one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it was like that. Okay.
Oh no! Wait, hang on, no. No one got turned into any of them. They just ate people.
See, now I'm thinking that they really were trying to just copy the Return of the Living Dead.
I think so.
Yeah, because there was even even the music, the soundtrack was kind of it wasn't punk on this movie,
No.
but it was like that, metal, fake metal kind of music. I mean, it was even the one song was even called "Bud the Chud," I think, it was horrible.
No, I think we missed. I think after he ate before we would go back to Steve and Kevin, they having a meeting, I guess in some kind of military base, and that's when we find out like if these chuds, if they eat they're like a plague or like a sickness. They'll keep on infecting people. And that's when Robert Vaughn like gets a fucking hard on. He's like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And then they're like, we gotta find those kids that took Bud the Chud. And it goes back to Kevin, and then they're all eating at that hamburger place. And they're telling Katie what they did, and
Well, she was with him when they stole the cadaver because she was the she was the driver.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But I guess they're just telling her
Yeah,
that
they
he
told her
came back
he
to
woke
life.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because another thing that didn't make sense either is like, it was her car that they were in. They have her license plate, but for some reason they go to Steve's house. Like that's how they tracked down Steve. It didn't make sense that it happened that way, but
Pretty much after they go back to Steve's house, find out that, Chud's gone. That's when it kind of goes to just him eating, or not even eating, him biting.
yeah, he just goes
Bunch
like
of people, and then the people he bites.
turn.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like there's some guy comes walking out of a bar and I guess goes behind a dumpster to throw up, and then Chud bites him or Bud bites him. And when he comes back out, now he's got that guy's blazer on. So he took his blazer. And then he goes into the barber shop, and when he comes back out, of course, it's off screen, but you can hear him biting the barber.
Yeah.
And when he comes back out, his hair is done. He's got
so pretty much he just starts biting and just infecting more people. And then it kind of goes to the people that he's already bitten, kind of biting other people. It shows like the next day. It shows the mailman delivering mail, and then
the dog, yeah,
ends up just attacking him and pulling him away from the mailbox.
Yeah. No, it pulls him because he's at the front door, and it pulls him from the front door all the way down the street.
Yeah, he's at the mailbox, and then he gets pulled, and like the girl doesn't even really do anything. Like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, like when the military, when they finally track down, because they know where Steve lives now, and it's the only people that go to the house is the Colonel Masters and his sidekick, Graves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that, they just didn't send and they don't even go in the house. You figure they would just military come in, search the house, but they don't. They just, they go up there and they say, we're looking for Steve, and his mom says, well, he's not here. He's in school. And they're just like, okay, well, tell him we were here,
Yeah, his parents are very cool about it. Like, they didn't really freak out.
No.
But then, after that, they're like on their way trying to find Bud and everything. And then, is that when they go to the burger place again?
Yeah, they stop to get burgers.
Yeah, and then a truck pulls up, and it's Bud the Chud and a bunch of other people he's bitten. They go to the burger place, and they end up attacking the people inside.
Yeah, just turn them all into Chuds.
Yeah, and then they eat them, and then they come out. Some of the people, ones that came out of the restaurant, and then they look over and they actually.
They don't even come out. Bud and the ones that he showed up with are the only ones that leave.
Yeah.
And then Steve, Kevin, and Katie go after him. And then around this same time is whenever Colonel Masters and Graves and the guy driving their limo shows up, and the limo driver goes in, and he starts getting attacked. But then for some reason they don't bite him or whatever, and he gets thrown through the window. And then Masters and Graves gets out, and he tells him to shoot the trunk open because I guess the driver has the keys, and he pulls out a rocket launcher and blows up the restaurant. And then when they drive away, and of course they think that they've killed them all, but they're all still alive. They all come out of the rubble, which I guess is like a hint that you can't just kill them by blowing them up. It's going to take something else to do it. And then Steve, Kevin, and Katie chase Bud down, and they're in a barn.
Yeah, they're in the barn. They're like, "This is creepy." He's like, "Yeah, I know." And they go in the barn, and they see Bud. They're like, "Come on, Bud." He's like, "Let's go for a ride." And he's not having it. And then he sees Katie, and he's like in love.
Yeah, because I guess he found a picture of her.
Yeah.
At some point, and now we're doing like a almost like a Bride of Frankenstein type story.
And then like I guess the guy that owns the bar comes out and comes in there and like, "What the fuck's going on?" Shoots one of them, and he's like, rest y'all need to get the fuck out."
Yeah.
And then that Chud he shot like gets up and a ball attacking him.
Well, I guess at this point too, Chud is going to attack Steve and Kevin, and they end up stabbing him with a pitchfork.
And he ends up throwing Kevin up in the second level of the barn.
And then for some reason he turns around and he like accidentally hits one of the other Chuds and knocks his head off.
Yeah.
Somehow, I don't know how it knocks his head off.
Then it shows him like chasing his head for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, all the way down to the creek.
It shows, or then he sees Katie and he walks towards her and she ends up.
And of course the military shows up again.
Oh, and my God, this is just funny. Like, yeah, they show up and they try to like, oh, well, what happens when they come? They try to kill one of them.
Yeah, and then they just end up freezing one of them.
Yeah, they freeze them, and then all of them start running, and then the Chud that they froze. Oh yeah, the Chud that they froze end up thawing out himself.
Yeah, he starts thawing out and running away, and then the Colonel Masters, when he tries to run, he like slips on the ice that was left. It was real dumb looking.
Yeah, and like the dialogue between him and the kids, they're like, "We're sorry that you guys are in trouble. We're sorry, it wasn't our fault. It was my fault." It was just weird, like the way they were acting.
Yeah, so now we have like a big group of the Chuds, and of course they realize that they're going to go to where there's a bunch of people.
Yeah, they end up seeing a sign for a Halloween party.
The Halloween dance.
And they end up going. Well, before there, it shows Katie, Steve, and Kevin. They get taken to the base, and what's his name? Masters is like, you guys don't cooperate. You guys are not going to see. You're not going to get out of jail until you're senior citizens. And he decides to leave. I can't remember why. He just leaves and has what's his name in charge.
Graves.
Yeah. Trying to ask him. They're trying to get him to ask them, what they do with the Chud and all this. I can't remember what happens, like why they decide to leave.
I think the other Chud starts showing up because.
Oh yeah, one of the army guys. He sees, here's a dog. He's like, "Here, doggy, doggy, doggy."
It's the guy that was driving the limo.
Yeah, and then the dog ends up biting him.
And then I guess all the Chuds like start taking over the base, and Graves is like says something like, "You guys go over here, and I'm gonna go this way." And he opens the door, and there's just a bunch of them standing there, and he like slams the door back. And then he picks up one of the tanks that has the cryo freeze in it.
Yeah.
And leaves through that other door. And I guess Steve, Kevin, and Katie, I think they end up getting in the limo, don't they? And they're gonna go to the school.
Yeah, they're gonna go to the school.
So they get to the school. And I just remember them saying, the one of them says, "I have a plan to go to the loading dock," which was weird that the school has a loading dock, but They go in there and they go to the science room, the science class, and their teacher is in there, and he's now a chud,
Yeah, he ends up going after them.
and he's like attacking. I guess like I think he's attacking Steve, and they end up lighting a Bunsen burner and shoving it to the back of the teacher's head. And it comes
He
out
ends
his
up get yeah,
and it comes out his forehead. And like I said, that was a pretty good special effect.
yeah, it
You know,
was.
practical effect because the entire time that it's connected to this guy's head, it's the Bunsen burner's lit. You know, so you got like the blue flame coming out of it.
Him getting like about a fire extinguisher.
No, he could I think Kevin
Oh no,
has
it was that yeah,
he has one of the
okay.
containers, and
Yeah,
they end up freezing the teacher, and then for some reason he takes the same electrical probes that they were going to shock the frog with, and puts them on the professor, which causes him to explode. And I don't know, they never really explain why. He kind of says why, but it's like a made up science reason that
he's like I got an
that
idea.
yeah. But then also at this time, all the other chuds show up to the dance, right? And it's not they don't immediately go in and start biting people. They have this whole thing of the girl that's watching the doors trying to make them pay to get in.
They gotta keep the dog outside.
Yeah, and they got to keep the dog outside. yeah.
You keep bring the dog, like, oh, they end up cracking their necks, knuckles.
Yeah, then they finally attack her. But even when they get into the dance, they don't immediately start attacking everybody.
They try to, but I guess their dance skills are just too bad.
Yeah, they basically start dancing with people. This movie had really weird comedy in it. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like
Yeah. Not a weird physical comedy.
yeah, but not only that, just the way that the Chuds acted. You know what I'm saying? Like even in like Return of the Living Dead, if you had a bunch of zombies going into a school dance, they would immediately just start attacking people. They're not going to be, you know, you're not going to have that physical comedy of like dancing and stuff like that. Which actually, whenever they're going into the school, they actually kind of do. They almost line up like they're dancing from the Thriller video. They all start kind of doing like a dance as they're going into the school. I thought was kind of weird.
You know what I thought was weird? Well, when Steve and them, when they show up, they go into or they get a bunch of was it nitroglycerin or what was it? What did they get? Like on those tanks?
Oh, I'm not sure what. I guess it was just whatever the military had in those tanks that they were freezing the bodies with.
Like, let's go to the pool. So they go to the pool in the school, and what's her name's like, my locker's this way. So she gets her bathing suit, and like her bathing suit's like, they let you wear that in school?
Yeah, well, because this is their plan, which kind of didn't make sense. Their plan was to get all of the chuds into the pool, and then they would freeze the water, and then they would, yeah, they would electrocute it, which would make them all blow up. And I'm pretty sure that this is the exact same ending to It Follows, isn't it? Isn't it what they done on It Follows? They were going to lure the thing into the pool so they could electrocute it. Yeah. So It Follows ripped off Chud too. But the other thing too is like, why did she have to get into a bathing suit just to jump into the pool?
Oh, because she wanted to, I guess, look sexy for fucking Bud the Chud.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, she wouldn't even need to.
That's crazy.
She doesn't even need to jump into the pool, actually, even when you think about it, once we get to that point. But I'm kind of glad that she put on the bathing suit.
Wasn't that weird that was her bathing suit for school? It's like, damn, they let you wear that?
Yeah. Definitely not school appropriate. So they have So she's going to lure them all through this one door, right? And of course, they say they have to block off that one corner.
Yeah.
So they just like move this big shelf and then put like looks like a soccer net on top of it. So she runs out, she puts on her bathing suit, she goes out, and she runs into the gymnasium where the dance is happening.
Like, hey, boys,
Yeah.
I mean, get a piece or something. But,
Yeah, so for some reason, you have this gym full of people, they're all going to go after this one person. Kind of didn't make sense, but they all chase her, they all follow her, and she runs through the doors. Well, actually, no, she doesn't because when she gets there, the doors are locked, so they almost get her, and then Steve and Kevin have to open the doors, and she jumps into the pool, and then all the chuds come running through, and they just fall into the pool.
yeah.
Like they didn't even need to. She didn't even need to jump in the pool because they all would have just kept running and fall in the pool anyways. So they're all
He
in the,
just wanted a reason to get her. You need to
that's
get
what it
this
was.
girl in a bathing
Yeah,
suit.
that was the only reason that they done that. So they're all in the pool. She gets out of the pool, and for somehow Bud gets out of the pool, and he chases her up a. She goes up the diving board, the ladder for the diving board. Now they start throwing they open up they start opening up the containers of the gas or whatever it is and start throwing them in the pool, and it starts to freeze it. And then he goes off on this. Kevin starts talking about like he's trying to remember how to shock them. Like he goes into this ridiculous reason of, we have to put the positive here and the negative has to go on this side. And I'm just like, that didn't matter whenever
Yeah.
when they done it to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? It was just, touching with them and it goes. But I guess this was their adding suspense to it. Because, they have to rip the wires off the wall. And for some reason, they put one end of the wire in like a pool skimmer pole. It did make sense. It was so ridiculous the way they done it.
Way they like, we gotta find the most ridiculous way to end this movie.
Yeah, and of
Oh,
course, through this whole thing of them trying to electrocute the water, Steve gets bit on the foot,
oh yeah.
and then
That happened.
yeah, and then of course all the chuds start blowing up, like exploding.
Yeah, and then Bud the Chud falls off the.
Yeah, he falls off, lands in the pool, and then I guess I couldn't tell if it was just his head that was laying there. Like, did his head blow off, and that's what we were looking at was just his head.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it was either Steve or Kevin takes an axe, hits Bud in the head with it. Ooh.
Goodbye, Bud.
And then we cut to now all of a sudden Steve has a limp, because he didn't have one immediately after getting bit, but now he does, so they're having to help him out of the school.
Him till later.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming it cuts to the next day.
Oh
And
no, they go. His parents gets pulled up, and like, oh my god, they're like, oh god, Steve's still alive, and then like a fucking body, was it that old cadaver, hits the back of the car,
oh yeah, and like
lifts
pops up.
and like it falls back down, like the
Yeah.
little girl's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
and then it goes to the next scene.
Yeah, I believe it's got to be just the next day.
Yeah, the next
We just see
day,
Kevin standing outside, and then Katie pulls up,
picks him up.
and that's whenever she's like, "Well, where's Steve?" And he's like, "Well, he's gone," but he left a note. And of course,
He's like,
it's just
yeah, I'm a screw up, so I'm gonna go screw up other people's lives.
yeah, and of course,
Yeah.
and he says you two are always the perfect couple or whatever. And then we see Steve hitchhiking with his dog. And what appears to be the exact same truck.
That they
the red pickup truck from the
Oh no.
earlier in the film. It
Yeah.
just kind of looks like it. Pulls up and Steve gets in the front seat and the dog jumps in the back, and that's where we see Colonel Masters.
Yeah, but first you see that Kevin the Chud.
Well, no, first we just see the dog jump back here, and Colonel Masters, and he tells the dog to be quiet because he's undercover. Because he had a tarp on him, I guess, was the joke. And then that's when it cuts to the front seat, and we see that Steve is a is now a chud. And I don't know who the girl was that was driving, but she's also a chud too. And that's the end of the movie. They drive off, and there never was a Chud 3, I don't think.
I would give this movie like I recommend it. I give it like a 7 out of 10. It was a fun, entertaining flick. Like I wasn't bored or nothing or uninterested in it.
No, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be a comedy.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But apparently the director, he had several versions of the film. He had one that was just more comedy, and then there was one that was more horror. And then the third cut he had was, just one that was for television. But I would like to see the one that was just horror, like had more horror in it.
I'm sure it'll be remade eventually.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they haven't remade, the first one yet.
Well, I think right now, like a B horror related, I think they're doing I think the first thing they're going to remake is probably
Is what?
Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah, but let's see. I don't consider Chud. I don't consider that to be a B horror movie.
Oh, you don't?
Nah, because I want to say that it even had it had a theatrical release, didn't it?
What, Chud?
Yeah.
Not sure.
It had a limited release in '84, so yeah, I just don't consider it a B movie. Low budget, but not not your typical like B movie.
Yeah.
So I'm just, like I said, I'm surprised that one hasn't been remade yet.
I'm sure it will. Just give it some time, my friend.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's probably working on it right now.
But yeah, I recommend this movie. It's called Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Yeah, it was definitely entertaining. Like I said, I'll definitely watch it again.
Yeah, me too. I definitely would.
It was a very fun film. Yeah, that's all I have too. So, where can they find you at on the internet?
You can find me at Best Salt with.
And you can find me at 1313 Inc. And you can find the podcast on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. And you can find us on Podbean, and you can get t-shirts and other products from our TeePublic website, and you can find all this information. That if you go to our Facebook page and hit the shop button, that'll take you directly to our store. But you can find all the other information on our website at 1313inc.wordpress.com. And hopefully everybody enjoyed this episode, and hopefully everybody will come back to listen to us next time. And until next time,